listening to CinemaJaw, the greatest movies podcast ever, recorded on location from CinemaJaw Studios in Chicago. My name is Matt Kay, and with me is
Rye the Movie Guy, and sitting to my left is KP.
Hello, how are you boys?
Good.
Very, very good on this fine Thursday that we're recording.
It's a fine Thursday, Ryan.
It is. That's because we finally are tackling one of the heavyweights in Hollywood, Matt, Kevin Costner.
Insert cricket sound effect here.
No enthusiasm for doing a top five Kevin Costner?
No, a little behind the scenes. Ryan texts me, we always go back and forth brainstorming which topics to do on the podcast. And sometimes you have time to fight a fight, and sometimes you just like, I don't feel like fighting this fight. Kevin Costner was thrown out, and I'm like, sure. Fine.
I did not know that you were so indifferent to Costner.
He has his moments,
For
right?
sure he has his moments.
He does. He definitely does. And then he doesn't.
I will agree to that, and it's interesting to see how his career arc went. I think most arcs go this way a lot of times, and lately we're a little bit down on the guy, for sure.
Oh, I wouldn't know. He's back.
You think he's fully back?
He's in
Absolutely.
Keanu territory. He's in Keanu and Nick Cage territory.
It's a Costner-assance.
Well, we'll see. This is obviously who our new theme is this month, is Kevin Costner, in honor of his new movie, Horizon. Now, he plans to make, I think, 3 or 4 of these movies, Horizon Part 1 and Part 2. He made 2 of them together, and throw this in the fish tank early on, because I don't want to misstate this, but I believe he self-financed a good portion of these movies.
This does not bode well.
Yeah, and it played at the Cannes Film Festival. Every movie there gets a standing ovation. That's their thing. So you might have saw headlines, Kevin Costner teared up during the standing ovation. But the truth of the matter is the critics that saw it have come out and have already panned the thing. So it's at like 20 or 30% rotten right now after just one screening at Cannes. And I just don't know if it's the right time for some new big epic Western starring Kevin Costner, even though that said, I've never seen Yellowstone. I'm not a fan of Yellowstone, and I know it does have a humongous fan base.
My brother keeps trying to get me to watch Yellowstone. He's like, just watch it. Just watch the first 3 episodes. I know it has this big fan base. I'm never going to watch it. But sorry, Jeff.
It's amazing that Costner, he's really big into Westerns and baseball movies.
That seems to be true.
It really does.
It does.
So he's our new theme this month, and we're going to do a top 5 Kevin Costner. We said last episode at the break, we were up in the air on what we were going to review. One of the movies in question was Atlas, the new J-Lo movie, and somehow that's what we landed on, Matt.
Yeah, you get these weeks occasionally in the summer in between big releases, and here comes Atlas on Netflix, and I think it slotted in quite nicely here.
Interesting. You sound very enthusiastic for it, so we'll see where that goes. Plus, it's a new month. We'll throw out some other movies that are coming out in the month of June with Interested or Ignore. And in honor of Atlas, we are going to play AI movie trivia.
Ooh, I like this.
Stump the Kubinski on AI trivia.
Can I get AI as a help? Just on one question, can I ask Chat GPT?
Why not?
Okay, cool. That'll be fun.
Good.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's remember to do it.
I'll remember. Write it down on your little list.
I don't have a pen with me.
Okay.
I got the list. It's all written down here. This all looks
get you.
nice. Oh, look at this. Matt's actually getting me a pen. All right, I'm writing it in. Chat.
See? Riveting podcasting.
Awesome.
Okay.
We are locked in. That was literally written down on the list now.
We call audibles here.
It is. So, as mentioned, the new theme, Kevin Costner. Let's kick it off with a fact.
Yes, okay, and this is going to seem a little indirect. What do you guys think about if I told you Air Force One during Kevin Costner month, no less? Seems like a non sequitur, but I promise it is not, because the role for the President of the United States in that film was specifically written for Kevin Costner. And Kevin himself helped develop the film with Beacon Communications and the writer Andrew W. Marlowe back in 1996. However, which is just so non-committal, Kevin backed out and passed on it because he was working on The Postman, which I look back on as probably a wrong choice.
Sure. Yeah, definitely a wrong choice. Although, would that movie have been as good without Harrison Ford in the role? Get off of my plane.
Oh, one of the best lines.
Well, and so that's the thing. Kevin called up Harrison Ford personally and offered Harrison Ford that role, which obviously became a huge deal. And since then, Harrison has like in interviews constantly been thanking Kevin for that opportunity. And I mean, it became huge. So
Sure.
I think maybe he made the right decision for us, but the wrong decision for himself.
Yeah, I really can't picture Costner delivering that line, "Get off my plane," with such vigor as Harrison Ford did.
I agree. I mean,
It's an iconic moment in Harrison Ford's career, you know?
It is. So basically, our first Kevin Costner fact is that Harrison Ford is better than Kevin Costner.
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
That's
that
where
should
we
be
go.
the first fact of almost every month we do.
Yeah.
Could they have played Indy?
I mean, honestly, I think Kevin Costner would have been okay in that role.
He would have been good. I just don't think he would have delivered that epic moment that Harrison Ford did at the end with
Yeah.
"Get off my plane." He's just
He's a little bit more subdued.
Yeah, he's soft-spoken. We'll get to it in the clip at the break that I picked out. I love the clip that I picked, but it's just like, yeah, subdued, soft-spoken Costner. It hits a different way. It's just not... You don't picture him screaming into the camera.
No, even in Yellowstone, because I haven't watched it, but I've seen clips. Like his character seems to be that slow, strong, quiet type. You know? Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Rides a horse well.
yeah. You don't want to mess with him, but he's never going to yell. He's just going to shoot you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's Lee's?
Does he?
I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Whatever he wears, they're dungarees.
So we're doing our top 5 favorite Kevin Costner movies, and I looked at his filmography. It's a
Well, I would imagine.
pretty big filmography. It's
been around.
And I did tell Matt, hey, I'm putting my list on the note. Don't cross over here since it's just
Right.
us
So
two.
I cross-referenced your list, Ryan.
And I want to say that because after I picked the 5, I thought, boy, Matt's got some slim pickings here. So, Jawheads, if you think Matt's picks aren't that good, do know he
Wow.
picked after me.
Thank you for saying that, Ryan. Thank you.
Because what do you got at 5?
I mean, that's fair of you to say. I
because
appreciate
your
it.
5 is really our 10th pick for Costner in my mind. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I picked my 5, then you had to pick your 5. So this is
Right.
really, like, in my opinion, the 10th best Costner.
So here's how to imagine this. In fact, I think you should go first. I do, because you're the A sides and I'm the B sides.
Gotcha.
Okay, so you go first.
Okay, I'll go first. My number 5 pick, and again, I could pick whatever I wanted at the time since I went first, and I went with 1991's JFK, directed by
Great.
Oliver Stone.
Yeah, back and to the left.
Back into the left, that was a huge line. Obviously, Seinfeld made a huge parody of it as well. Great episode with Keith Hernandez. Hysterical when I think about it. But Costner plays District Attorney Jim Garrison, who came to believe there was a conspiracy to assassinate Kennedy and that Lee Harvey Oswald was a scapegoat. And it's a long movie.
It is.
And it's a movie that, especially when you believe in conspiracies, and I've always been fascinated with the Kennedy assassination.
Sure, everybody is.
And I'll still to this day, when something pops up,
You watch it.
yeah, I'll get
Me
into
too.
and I'll go down that rabbit hole. Like, yeah, what happened here? That is really strange that,
There's been a bunch of new information that's come out since that movie, and I think you can credit Oliver Stone, at least in some small part, for keeping that discussion going.
right.
Because I think it had faded from popular culture, and then JFK, boom, brought it right back to the forefront. People were like, "Yeah, that was freaking weird. Let's talk about that again."
I agree, and it's odd that such a big movie for a courtroom drama, but it was like the movie everybody was talking about was JFK.
Yeah.
And Costner's right at the heart of it.
Agreed. Did it win, or was it nominated for anything?
It didn't win, but can we throw that in the fish tank? Was it nominated for Best Picture? I think it was, but I know it didn't win for sure.
Okay. Kevin Costner has done his fair share of romantic roles. I don't want to say romantic comedies, romantic dramas, let's say. And one that really stands out is the 1992 romance thriller The Bodyguard with Whitney Houston.
These are the B-sides.
These are the B-sides. But
This should be noted, though.
it should be noted, it had that, absolute mega hit, I Will Always Love You, which is a Dolly Parton cover, but nevertheless, Whitney Houston knocked it out of the park. Knocked it out of the park. The Bodyguard's a cheesy movie, but it's fun. I watched it in the 90s, and, I loved hating it. And does it hold up? No, it doesn't. But it's also kind of like timeless in a way. It's just stuck in its era.
It's again one of those. It was like the mega hit of the year. You said that was 92, right?
Yep.
We have to acknowledge this when it comes to Costner, because I don't think we ever think of him as being sort of like the movie star.
He never played action heroes.
I know, but where we're hitting right here in like 91, 92, he was literally at the top of Hollywood. He could do almost no wrong. He had just come off of Dances with Wolves in 90, which he directed and starred in.
Right, which was a mega hit.
And then it was like The Bodyguard, mega hit. He was in JFK, which shouldn't have been a hit. It was a mega hit. And I was like, what the heck?
Well, I don't know if it was a mega hit, but
big,
it was a hit. Yeah, big.
And he was just like really way bigger of a movie star than I think you would think for soft-spoken Costner. You know, that's the point I wanted to make.
Yeah. Somehow, some way. Let's flip it back to the A side, turn this record over.
So this is my oddball pick, and I have talked about this movie a couple of times on the Jaw. It's another political movie that Costner was in, and this one is 13 Days. And this is the one about the Cuban Missile Crisis.
I've never seen this one.
And this was actually a bomb at the box office. I don't want to say a bomb, but it definitely didn't do very well. So this was not a hit by any means. Came out in the year 2000, and it dramatizes the Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962, and it's really seen from the character Costner plays perspective, and he plays the top White House assistant, Kenneth P. O'Donnell. And a lot of it, I think, is taken from, it's called like the Kennedy tapes of Robert and John and their advisors talking about the Cuban Missile Crisis. And so a lot of it is based in fact, and then it obviously dramatizes, some characters to make it, a bit more dramatic for the big screen. But I've talked about it on Jaw before. If you're unfamiliar with the missile crisis, and how close we were to going to war,
sure,
it's a great watch.
Right on the edge of oblivion.
Yeah, right. I mean, and people in a room really making very difficult decisions and talking it out. Should we do this? I think they'll do that. Back and forth. Fascinating.
So you're telling me this is worth a spin?
It really is. Yeah, 13 days.
All right. Back to the B-sides here. At my number 4, I am going with the Lawrence Kasdan 1994 Western Wyatt Earp. What a cast.
Never saw this one.
Really?
No. I was a Tombstone guy. You know how there was that divide?
You don't have to choose.
I know, but this was very much like...
very much like Tombstone.
No, but I know. But, when two movies come out, like Armageddon and Deep Impact.
Right.
There's
twins.
Various, yes.
Like
this was the same thing.
13th Floor and Matrix. Yeah.
No. Don't put those two in the same...
I mean, premise-wise.
All right, but you know what I mean.
Actually, 13th Floor, worth a spin. Mm-hmm. Check it out. Don't sleep on that one.
But Wyatt Earp.
So, dude, Kurt Russell, right?
No, he's in Tombstone.
Dude, that's crazy because, like, you pull up Wyatt Earp on Google, and the first thing you see is Costner and Russell. That must be like putting the two movies next to each other.
It's just like Garfield and Furiosa. We were over this last week.
Garfiosa. You're right. It was Dennis Quaid, Gene Hackman, and Costner, among others. But it's a great cast nevertheless. Michael Madsen's in there. It's Wyatt Earp.
I have been meaning to watch it because I have a good friend of mine. When we were kids, he would tell me, you got to watch Wyatt Earp. And I was a Tombstone guy. You got to watch it. Costner is so good in there. I've never seen it. And I've always said I should check it out at some point.
We should. Maybe we'll watch those two movies this month.
Well, another Western back on the A side, and it is his epic Dances with Wolves is my number 3 pick.
Yeah. Wow. Just at number 3.
Just at number 3. Came out in 1990. Tatanka. He played John Dunbar. Another great scene. I used to love when he would explain his name to the natives. John Dunbar, Bar. I loved Dances with Wolves. I've seen it numerous times. And Dunbar travels to the American frontier to a military post, and obviously he meets a group of Native Americans who take him in. He's lonely. He gets to know their way of life. And then, lo and behold, here comes the cavalry, and now they think
all hell breaks loose. Right?
They think he's a native.
Right. He's gone native, which is where that term comes from.
Right.
Yeah.
This may sound like Avatar to our younger viewers.
Which it basically is.
It basically is. Same exact story. Absolutely. But Dances
Except
with
no
Wolves.
blue people in Dances with Wolves.
Dances with Wolves may be a little bloated, a little long, but for my money, I think because I watched it, this was a movie that would be on cable. I would catch it, various different times. Very familiar with this movie. Always a huge fan.
Did you write down a year?
1990.
So I'm pretty sure I watched this when it first came out, and I remember being bored to tears, except for a few scenes. I did like the Tatanka.
Right.
It was fun.
Yeah. Well, we were younger for that type of movie at the time. I also saw it very young, and I remember thinking, like, I don't see movies that win the Oscar. Like, I wasn't going to see, like, Oscar-nominated movies.
Right.
But I saw Dances with Wolves, and you're right. I remember being kind of, like, bored and starting to lose interest right when the Cavalry came back. And then I was like, oh, my God, it all clicked for me. I was like...
It does come around in the end.
Yeah. Enjoyed it.
All right. Speaking of B-sides, I don't think there's a bigger B-side in Kevin Costner's career. Must be noted, though, has its supporters, has its cult following. I have poo-pooed it in the past, but if I'm being honest, I actually kind of like Waterworld. It's just stupid, over-bloated fun. The whole thing with it's Mad Max on a boat. That's when we were talking about it.
Right.
When
I was just talking about it in my
Furiosa post-apocalyptic.
Yep, exactly.
It's kind of fun, right? And Dennis Hopper is crazy with all the cigarettes and stuff. It doesn't really stand up to much scrutiny, but what a just a big swing he took, because Costner directed it, right?
No, he did not direct it.
But he produced it.
Produced it for sure.
Did he write it?
Throw it in the fish tank.
Okay. Nevertheless, he had a big part in producing this thing. It was the most expensive movie ever made at that time.
At that time, sure.
And we still have the stunt show. That's its legacy. Right?
I don't even know if we still have the stunt
it
show.
may not still be there, but for a long time we had the Waterworld stunt show at Universal. So
Nice.
There you go.
I mean, you can imagine the expense of building sets on the water, because
Sure.
there was one scene that I always liked. It was basically like a city, like a trading post.
Right. The
city
atoll.
that was floating on the water, and they had to build this. Sure, it was probably like maybe in a tank or just off the shore somewhere in sort of a controlled area, but needless to say, you got actors on floating devices. That's just hell for filming a movie.
Just all the safety people alone.
Right.
Because it's dangerous as all hell. What were they thinking?
But we got Waterworld out of it, so.
And the sunscreen bill, Crazy.
Plus, Costner, he always has thin hair. And I always thought that was risky, because people with thin hair, when they get,
They don't look good underwater.
Right.
Yeah.
But Costner somehow just went with it. He's like, yeah, screw it. I got thin hair. I'm going underwater.
Yep. It's ballsy.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't talk about Costner's career and not talk about Waterworld.
Agreed. Absolutely. My number 2 pick, back onto the A side here, was really when he was launching into his stardom here, and that's 1987, The Untouchables.
Yeah.
I wanted to put this at number 1, but the guy's made a couple of baseball movies we'll get to. 1987, The Untouchables, directed by who? Brian De Palma. Produced by Art Linson. It stars Kevin Costner and, of course, Robert De Niro, Andy Garcia, and one Sean Connery.
Great movie, dude.
Unbelievable.
The baby carriage going down the stairs.
And where's that at? Union Station, right here in Chicago.
It's literally about 4 blocks from where we are. 5? It's walking distance from where we are. And those stairs are still there. It's very cool.
It is. And obviously they're trying to bring in Al Capone, who's played by De Niro.
Great turn from De Niro as Al Capone.
Totally. De Niro was great in here. I mean, the movie, I've seen it maybe, not enough. I've only seen it maybe twice, maybe 3 times total.
I've seen it half a dozen times.
And I'm always just so impressed. And I think, again, to the timing of this, because I've saw it like after the fact that, like, Kevin Costner was a star. Now I'm going back and seeing Untouchables. At the time, this was like the movie that launched Costner. It was like, who's this guy? And then, obviously, all these movies that we named came after. But awesome flick. If you have not seen, for some reason, The Untouchables, do yourself a favor, Jawheads, and give it a spin.
I agree. I really do. And I've mentioned this before, but it bears repeating. My friend is in that movie. She plays the little girl who gets blown up at the beginning.
I remember you saying that.
Aditra. Yeah. Yeah. Great little story. I've seen the bust of her, the face that they made. Anyway, back to the B-sides, ladies and gentlemen. This is a movie that is probably a bad movie. almost certainly a bad movie. But Kevin Costner's career at the time was in the freaking toilet. Like, he was a joke. We were totally not on board for Kevin Costner as an actor. Comes into The Man of Steel playing Pa Kent. What an amazing turn, right? He basically is the best part of the Superman movie. It's Kevin Costner, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll give you that.
He's the best part of the movie. And I'm pretty sure he dies in the movie, or he has to get rescued. And it's like sad. Like, he made Pa Kent so sympathetic that I was actually sad when he died. You know?
And it was interesting because we hadn't seen Costner, thinking about it through his career, play like a father figure.
Right. This was a new era of Costner. I think this is the movie that launched the Costner-assance. Seriously. You don't get to Yellowstone without Man of Steel.
True.
Debatable.
We'll give it to you, though.
Yeah, I think it's true.
It was a good turn for Costner. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
All right. Leaves it to my number one. And I said he was in a couple of baseball movies. He's actually been in 3. I did not have For the Love of the Game. I've never seen.
You had a tie at number 1.
But I had a tie because I thought if I had to pick one, I'm going to be honest, Jawheads, my number 1 is Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
I love it.
But you talk about it a lot.
And I talk about it a lot. So then I thought, you know what? Put Bull Durham on the list also.
Susan Sarandon, Tim Robbins,
and Costner, who plays Crash Davis.
The better film by far, by the way.
And, well, I think if you're like a baseball purist or you love to romanticize about baseball, you're going to love Field of Dreams. If you're not so much into that and you just want a good movie with a comedy and a sexy Susan Sarandon.
It's not a comedy. It's more like a noir.
I wouldn't go as far as a noir. It's definitely a lighthearted movie. I mean, you know, everything about Crash Davis.
He loses his touch.
I still wouldn't say noir. I mean, maybe a bit of a drama, but it's got some comedy beats. It's a funny movie also.
Okay.
Especially Tim Robbins being the rookie pitcher.
I'm not thinking Tin Cup. It's Bull Durham with Susan Sarandon.
Yes, it's Susan Sarandon. Tin Cup is the golf movie.
Right. They have an affair early on in his baseball career. She's like an older lady, right?
Right, and she's always trying to get the players.
Right.
Right. Now she's after Tim Robbins.
Right.
And but she had been with Kevin Costner.
And things go wrong for Costner. Like, his career's in the toilet after that, right?
He's older. He's just older, and he's starting to be like washed up because Tim Robbins is like the young guy that's on the way up. And his career's not ever going to make it to the major leagues.
I got to rewatch Bull Durham. It's been a minute.
Yeah. The other thing that I wanted to bring up is I'm not familiar with Bull Durham as much as I am Field of Dreams. Field of Dreams I've seen 20 plus times. I'm a huge fan. But Bull Durham I've probably seen twice in my life. Also, quality film. So I just put him as both. And he made them back to back. 88 and 89, he makes Bull Durham, comes right back. The ball's on this guy. He doesn't just go with one baseball movie. He comes back and just does back-to-back baseball movies. Nobody does that because they don't want to be pigeonholed as a baseball
movie guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Costner did it, and both are great.
All right. On to the B-side number 1, and I'm sure you can already hear Bryan Adams playing in your brain. Of course, I'm going with 1991's Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. And if we're being honest, it's really about the 2 supporting actors in the movie. It's about Morgan Freeman, and it's about, oh my God, total brain fart. Help me out. The Sheriff of Nottingham. Freaking Snape.
Alan
Rickman, thank you. Oh my God, Jawheads, I apologize. Brain farts happen from time to time. Alan Rickman was a genius. And those are the 2 people that made the movie. Kevin Costner was also in it.
He's solid in there,
He's solid. He's fine.
It's been a long time since I've seen it, though.
Great movie. Good enough to get the parody treatment in Men in Tights, which is also a great movie in its own right. I love Prince of Thieves. It came out at that tender age when a good adventure movie can really sink into a kid's psyche. So I was a big Robin Hood fan after this. And unfortunately, there's not much else to go to.
But this actually fits in line with what I'm talking about Costner. Like, I on paper, I would not think that a Robin Hood movie at that time was going to do well. But Costner was just on a roll at that point. That was another huge hit.
He was big in the 90s, dude.
He really was.
He could do no wrong.
And that song, that Bryan Adams song, was just like everywhere. I remember that song just being like constantly on. It was one of those that went from the screen to all radios across the country.
But here's something I've noticed as we've gone over these lists. And I think this is true. Let me get you guys. With the exception of Superman, Kevin Costner is never the best part of any of the big Kevin Costner movies. Except maybe Dances with Wolves.
Yeah, he's good in Dances with Wolves. I mean, does all the voiceover. I always think that, we did our favorite voiceover, and, we love Morgan Freeman. There's some guys that do it extremely well. But I remember thinking Costner doesn't get enough credit for Dances with Wolves. I always thought his gentle voice was one of the big selling points of Dances with Wolves.
I got to rewatch that one too, man. Maybe you're right. I don't know. Maybe we're missing something about Kevin Costner.
Well, I mean, I like the guy. So, I mean, not bashing on him.
Yeah, but he's never going to be like the top of anybody's list, right? Who's your favorite actor? Kevin Costner.
So
no. Robert De Niro? Sure. Harrison Ford? I got it. Gene Hackman? Yeah.
But I'll say this. They started playing, the actual Field of Dreams is still in operation.
Yeah, you love this shit.
But they actually, Major League Baseball, about 5 years ago, started playing one game there.
I know.
A year. And the first game they ever played was the White Sox versus the Yankees on the actual Field of Dreams. And you know how baseball likes to get all mushy.
It was an actual MLB game.
MLB game. And they played it out in the cornfield. And to open it up, the music started playing. And out of the cornfield came Kevin Costner to do the honorary first pitch.
He threw the first pitch.
And God damn it, if I didn't cry in my living room. I was like emotional as all hell watching Kevin Costner, and he was waving. He just knew how to eat it all up, and I was like, God, I love
knew this
baseball.
was a bad idea. We're going to be talking about Field of Dreams all friggin' month long.
It was a wonderful moment. And then there, when I'm seeing Costner after, not seeing him for a long time, and he comes out of the cornfield, I was all swept up in it, and I said, "Damn it, I love Kevin Costner. I love the guy. He's Americana."
Okay, so when they played the game on the Field of Dreams, how did they know if they hit a home run? Like if it goes into the corn, it's a home run. They
did put up a fence,
okay,
like a see-through fence, like a chain link out there, but it was pretty tall, so that way you could still see the corn out there. It was done pretty well. I don't know if they're still doing that. They did it for a few years in a row. I don't know what. I lost touch. I don't watch that much baseball anymore.
Yeah, I'll look it up on YouTube.
Yeah. But the opening of it with Costner doing the first pitch.
Did you ever think we would be doing our top 5 Kevin Costner movies on CinemaJaw?
I didn't. I wasn't positive. We keep a list of all of our themes.
Oh, of course.
And I had to go to that because I was like, we must have done Costner.
Are you shitting me?
We've been doing these themes now for like 4 years. I thought I better double check. We probably got Costner. We hadn't. And I was like, all right.
I would have remembered that.
Well,
it's memorable.
Coming out this month is Horizon, Kevin Costner's new Western. We'll probably have a look at it and give a review.
Yeah, why wouldn't we?
There's some other notable films coming out this month. I thought it'd be fun to do Interested or Ignore on a couple. What do we got, KP?
Oh, we got two in here. Our first one, The Bike Riders. Over the course of a decade, a Midwestern motorcycle club evolves from a gathering place for local outsiders to a sinister gang, threatening the original group's way of life. The film stars Austin Butler, Jodie Comer, Tom Hardy, and Michael Shannon. It is directed by Jeff Nichols, and the film will ride into theaters June 21st. We are going Interested or Ignore. Ryan, you rode a bicycle here today. It was a pedal bike, not a motorcycle. But I'm really curious to hear, as a cyclist myself, what you're feeling.
So the cast, very impressive.
Very.
I love all of the characters, I should say actors here, and I love Jeff Nichols, the director. So you think I'm going to scream at the top of my lungs that I'm interested. Behind the scenes here, this was scheduled to come out last year as like an Oscar movie, and it started to make the festival runs and then didn't do nearly as well as they thought, and so they delayed it until a summer release. That has me a little worried. So I'm minor interested. I'm not super excited for it, but I definitely do want to check it out.
That cast is stellar. Austin Butler just did a great job in Dune, but I'm feeling the way you're feeling about this, and I'm going to ignore it.
KP?
I'm also ignoring. I don't know what you see in this. Motorcycle films just don't do anything for me. Motorcycle culture doesn't do anything for me. Matt and I were talking off the mic, and the only thing that interests me about it, and I should have looked this up, but I think Tom Hardy, he has to ride a motorcycle in real life, right? He's on motorcycles all the time. It's like we were talking about with Viggo Mortensen last month and horses. The dude's on motorcycles all the time.
He is. He likes his
He looks good
motorcycles.
on them.
Yeah. We'll probably get a review of the bike rider.
We're going to see it, yeah.
No doubt.
That's obligatory.
Yeah. Actually, the invitation for the press screening
just
already came out.
yeah.
So I already RSVP'd.
You got to let me know. Okay. What's next?
We'll need a moment of silence for this one. Okay, everybody lower your voices because we're doing Quiet Place Day 1. Taking place before the first film. A woman named Sam must survive an invasion in New York City by the bloodthirsty alien creatures with ultrasonic sound hearing we know from this series. This film stars Lupita Nyong'o, and replacing John Krasinski as the director, we have Michael Sarnowski, whose last film was one of Matt's favorites, Pig. The film will come out June 28th. Matt K., interested or ignore?
Interested. And this will be my introduction to the Quiet Place universe.
What?
True story.
What?
True. And I will then watch the Krasinski movies. But the guy that directed Pig and Lupita Nyong'o, I'm in. With a good alien invasion, looks like a survival horror kind of thing.
This will not be my first foray into the Quiet Place universe. And the thing that has me nervous is that they're switching directors. However, he has directed Pig. That's a plus. I like Lupita. She's always wonderful. I've seen the trailer, and it does worry me because I think it's going to be a much different type of film.
Yeah, more action.
Absolutely.
Right, than the first two. So it's just going to be completely different. The first two are these quiet, horror films. The suspense is there. I think they'll still go for that because that's what these are known for. But it's also going to have a lot more action. And seeing these creatures come down on New York City for the first time is going to be pretty crazy. I'm interested. KP?
I am big time interested. I think what's super cool about this one, spoilers, I'm sorry, Matt, but Ryan, do you remember in the first Quiet Place, like when shit starts to hit the fan, they're at that baseball game? Mm-hmm. I also think it's super cool, like that part of the series I think is super worth exploring because they have the time skip and they never really go back. I also think it's cool, like John Krasinski's family in the film, like their children are deaf, so they have they know sign language already, and they're used to
being
how
quiet.
to navigate this. I think it's super cool that they're taking a look at people who do not know sign language and that struggle. Like, how do we communicate? How do we figure out? And even the learning process of oh, it's sound. That's what's doing it right now. I think this is super cool.
Yeah.
Could be a great prequel just like Furiosa. Prequels are all the rage these days.
Okay. Are they?
Well, 3 interesteds for Quiet Place Day 1. Also one that I'm sure we will review here on the podcast.
No doubt.
So what we are going to do is take a break. When we come back, we still have our review of Atlas, the new J-Lo Netflix movie, plus some AI movie trivia. Stick with us, Jawheads. Let's all go to the lobby. Kicking off Kevin Costner month here with my number 5 pick that I just had for my favorite Costner movies, JFK. And I picked the scene where he's in the courtroom, and I talked about Costner's voice, how he's sort of soft-spoken. And in here, what I love, he's got this accent going on, and he's talking about truth and how important it is that it gets out there. And as he starts to talk about the democracy of this country and how much he loves this country, listen to how Costner gets choked up here. It's not over the top, it's just enough, and I think it's that small amount that really just gets to me and chokes me up at the same time. Here's a clip from Oliver Stone's JFK.
Going back to when we were children, I think that most of us in this courtroom thought that justice came into being automatically, that virtue was its own reward, that good would triumph over evil. But as we get older, we know this just isn't true. Individual human beings have to create justice, and this is not easy, because the truth often poses a threat to power, and one often has to fight power at great risk to themselves. People like S.M. Holland, Lee Bowers, Gene Hill, Willie O'Keefe, have all taken that risk. They've all come forward. I have here some $8,000 in these letters sent to my office from all over the country. Quarters, dimes, dollar bills from housewives, plumbers, car salesmen, teachers, invalids. These are people who cannot afford to send money, but do. These are the ones who drive the cabs, who nurse in the hospitals, who see their kids go to Vietnam. Why? Because they care. Because they want to know the truth. Because they want the country back. Because it still belongs to us. As long as the people have the guts to fight for what they believe in. The truth is the most important value we have, because if the truth does not endure, if the government murders truth, if we cannot respect the hearts of these people, then this is not the country in which I was born in, and it's certainly not the country that I want to die in.
Drinks and sparkling drinks and all the dandy, 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 dandy.
And we're back on CinemaJaw. Before we talk about J-Lo and before I play some AI movie trivia, we did throw a couple things into the fish tank, Ryan.
We did.
Maybe we should let KP up. KP?
Wait a moment! It's fish! Isn't it?
DC! Wake up!
No, Pat, it's a giant glass bowl. Hey, get some fish folk.
Who's coming with me besides Flipper? Here.
That's a Sicilian message. It means Luca Brasi sleeps with the fishes.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Hello, we are really going butts to nuts crazy with Kevin Costner month, and it's only week 1. We have 3 different questions in here. Our first one, did Kevin Costner self-fund the Horizon movies? This is a big one, guys. Buckle up. This was actually a really fun read. Short answer, yes. Kevin Costner.
Did Waterworld teach you nothing?
Okay. Apparently no. Okay. So he is prepared for 4 films. I think that's important. And he did only put up his own money for the first 2. But it's been like a huge passion project for this man. I looked it up. He's been working on this since 1988. Wow. And I gotta say, I do respect the moxie that, like, he's going this all in. That's super admirable. He stated in interview that he mortgaged waterfront property in Santa Barbara, California to fund these films. Like, the man believes in this project, and this is a man who wrote, directed, produced, and starred in these films. And he has deferred all of those fees. So he got no day rates for these first 2 for any of that work.
And he's never gonna.
Who knows? I kind of, at this point, I kind of want to see it just to support the man living his best life. At the very least, I hope that he, like, got a backpack full of pizza and ladyfingers from the crafty table or something, because he should be getting something from this.
He got the action figure rights.
I'm sure.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
But again, I'm reading the room wrong. I just don't see a Western. I mean, if you're following the headlines, people are complaining that Furiosa didn't do very well at the box office. Now you're going to throw out an epic Western with Kevin Costner? I just don't see it being a big hit. Could be wrong, though. I could be wrong.
Oh, no, a 3-hour slow burn movie? I'm not interested in this at all. But it's the guy clearly believes in it, so good for him. Okay, this kind of segues into our next one. Was JFK nominated for anything? He does have credentials. He is better than we give him credit for, I think. And JFK was nominated for a lot. It had 8.
I thought so, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It had 8 noms up. It was up for Best Picture, Best Director, Tommy Lee Jones as Best Supporting Role, Best Score by John Williams, which I can see why it didn't win because it's John Williams. The dude has enough. And Best Sound. Those are the 6 nominations. And it nabbed 2 statues for Best Cinematography and Best Editing.
Nice.
Yeah. Those are the pity Oscars, but still nice.
Editing's still good.
Yeah.
How many do you have, Matt?
I have a picture of me holding one.
Yeah, that was a fun day.
That's all.
That's more than a lot of people.
That is true. Who directed and produced Waterworld? Costner did not direct it, so that was accurate. It was actually directed by a different Kevin Reynolds. Reynolds previously working with Costner on Matt's #1, no less, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Interesting.
Also would go on to make The Count of Monte Cristo. And Costner did produce that one as well. He produced that. And
Meaning he put up a lot of his own dough.
And maybe didn't learn. But we never know. Maybe this is going to... I don't think it is. Most people...
Sometimes rich people just want to spend their money on stuff, you know?
Yeah, but the man already had a house that he mortgaged in Santa Barbara.
I'm sure he has another one. He's not like living on the streets.
Yeah. And he did really well, I was reading, with Dances with Wolves, because that was another one where, he produced it, he directed it. It was like his baby. And I know he had like the back end rights to it. And the thing made like something like $400 and some million. So he's pretty well off. I actually looked up his net worth while I was looking him up, and he's up over like $400 million. He's in that high range.
Right. And I'm guessing the Western didn't cost over $100 million to
right.
make. Yeah.
But still, he's putting up his own
four
money.
of them.
And he's going to make 4 of these, so he says. So.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a wild ride.
It's like James Cameron and Avatar, right? He's just going to stuff it down our throats.
But Avatar made a shit ton of money.
It really did.
And James Cameron is awesome.
Yeah, you can't bet against James Cameron. He's always making these big hits.
Yeah.
Costner can make some duds.
Yeah.
I mean, look at The Postman. That was another like huge movie that
it's got its supporters. People, there's some cults
it was
status.
Bad. It was bad.
I mean, I'm not arguing, but it does have some people that like it.
Yeah. Was that everything in there, KP?
That's all we got for me.
So next week on the show, we have Katie Glidewell coming back on CinemaJaw.
Very excited to have Katie back.
Absolutely. Our review next week, at least one for sure, is The Watchers, which is directed by M. Night Shyamalan's daughter.
Right. Produced by M. Night Shyamalan.
Right. And she is making her big screen debut.
And you know who's super excited? Eric Childress. He cannot wait for this.
I hope
that's an inside joke.
Yeah, I hope I see Childress at the screening.
Me too.
That would be hilarious. But I've been looking forward to it. I watched the trailer and I'm pretty pumped for The Watchers. So.
Yeah, me too. Looks kind of scary.
Absolutely. Might have to do something with M. Night and Kevin Costner. Who knows?
I don't know how that'll work.
We'll come up with a good top 5.
What a twist.
Reveal.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Sorry, KP. It is a reveal.
That is next week on The Jaw. All right. That is everything. Now you can get back in there, KP.
You bet.
All right. That brings us to Atlas. Science fiction, AI run amok, mech suits, Jennifer Lopez. Where do I sign up? These are the questions I was asking myself when I sat down to spin the latest from director Brad Peyton, who also gave us the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson video game vehicle, Rampage. This one is entitled Atlas, and it's on Netflix right now. I neural linked myself to my smart TV and commanded it not to take over the world.
Good morning, Atlas. Time to wake up.
I'm awake.
Agent Atlas Shepard has spent years of her life hunting the artificial intelligence known as Harlan. Originally engineered to advance humanity, he instead nearly ended it.
If you really want to try to capture Harlan, you need me on that mission.
Mayday! We are under attack!
With all the fuss over AI lately, it makes a lot of sense that we're getting films like The Creator and Atlas. But honestly, when have we not gotten films like this? Here's the basic premise, Ryan. Atlas is a military analyst with a deep-seated mistrust of AI. You see, her mom created Harlan, played by Simu Liu, the world's first AI terrorist. When we meet Atlas, it is 35 years after Harlan's attack and subsequent fleeing from the planet, an act which left millions of humans dead. When new intel leads to the location of Harlan's hiding place, the ICN, think NATO, travels to the distant planet to eliminate the threat. But the ship crashes and Atlas is forced into an AI-powered mech suit controlled by Smith, voiced by Gregory James Cohen, a program that J-Lo does not want to let into her brain. The two are forced to work together to complete the mission. This adds up to 1 part buddy cop, 2 parts Black Mirror, and a touch of Verhaven thrown in. While Atlas may be a little paint by numbers in terms of its plot, the world building here was actually fairly decent. I believed the future Earth, all of its technology, and the secret AI based on the alien world. I loved the mech suits, especially with them imbued with this bubbly personality, which made them more sympathetic characters in their own right, especially Smith. Harlan was a decent villain, even if he was sort of generic and his plot was a bit Thanosian, to coin a term. J-Lo herself is absolutely swinging for the fences, and it's kind of hilarious. Overacting, maybe, but she also might be just talented enough for me to forgive her for that. She's really making some big swings here. Like, somebody should tell her she's just on Netflix. Like, tone it down a notch. And I should also mention Mark Strong pops up. A smaller role, but we love to see Mark Strong. At the end of the day, by the way, he got the tone just right.
Mm-hmm, he totally did.
At the end of the day, being on Netflix helps this movie a lot. This is one of those that I started with every intention of making it a 2-sitting watch and wound up watching it straight through. Solid effects, decent acting, good premise, fun action tone, make for a breezy sci-fi action flick that won't be too controversial. I say spin it.
Wow, I'm actually shocked here, Matt K, because I got to say it's very, very meta of Netflix to make a movie about AI and actually have AI write a generic script for it. I mean, this thing was absolute garbage.
Well, but the world building, right?
The film lacks suspense, it lacks heart, and it lacks brains. There are the kinds of these are the kinds of big, bland, and boring films that actually give Netflix a bad name. We give it a pass because it's Netflix, but my God, if you went to the movie theater and you saw this, you would want your money back. You'd be pissed.
Nah. The tech was fun.
And I know we're kind of making fun of J-Lo here. I don't like her, and putting her in one of these robotic suits didn't. And having her deliver even corny lines on top of it didn't help the matter at all. I was rolling my eyes a constant at this thing. I'm like, my God, this is bad. It was bad.
It was not that bad.
But I will say the world building you touched on was pretty decent. And this Simu Liu, who was in Barbie, great villain.
He's popping up more and more.
Absolutely. And I really like this guy. I thought his look as the villain, Harlan, was great. But unfortunately...
What a dumb plot.
Very dumb plot, and we're going to get into it when we have that would never happen moment.
Oh, you got one.
Oh, I did. I got a good one too. But his character, anyways, at least the look of him and the world building around there, okay, pretty good. The plot, pretty basic.
What about
stuff.
the action and the effects?
There's one great. So let's just do my jaw-dropping moment because it is a wonderful sequence, even though it really rips off Edge of Tomorrow. But it's the sequence where J-Lo and her team are going to the alien planet to find Harlow, and then his drones attack their ship, and she has to get into one of these suits. What did you call it?
A mech.
A mech. She gets in the suit, and the drones attack, and now everybody falls out. And
that was so cool.
It reminded me, though, so much of Tom Cruise in Edge of Tomorrow. If you'll remember, his plane is getting attacked, and they keep rerunning the whole thing, and they got to get out of that airplane. Very similar to that. However, I'll give props to Atlas in that moment. That was all pretty well done. Even the CGI, I didn't have a major issue with, and it was a thrilling sequence, to say the least.
They have a couple of slow-mo shots.
To say the least, I was impressed with that. What did you think of the effects?
I thought they were really good. I liked even the stuff on Earth, like just in her apartment. It was pretty well done because that can be like too Blade Runner-y and too Total Recall-y, you know? But I thought that they hit that sweet spot. That's why I threw in that name in my review. I loved the ships that they travel on. I liked the jump to light speed, but I gotta say, I got a nitpick with one of the special effects. And this is my that would never happen moment. All right, can we go there?
Go ahead.
All right. She's traveling through space at the speed of light, right? They're heading to this alien planet. She's in her quarters on this ship, preparing her report to deliver to these soldiers her intelligence report. You see out the window, stars going by like street lights. That would never happen. That's physically impossible.
That would never happen.
That would never happen. They do it on Star Trek, and it pisses me off. And it looked like Star Trek: The Next Generation outside of her window. That would never happen.
I like it. I like that. That's a good moment. For my that would never happen moment is this idea that Harlan is this evil. I like that they called Harlan an AI terrorist.
That was kind of cool.
That was a pretty interesting terminology that I had never quite heard described in a movie. Okay, so now we have an AI terrorist. What makes the Terminator great in the Terminator is the fact that
wow, he was an AI terrorist.
Is that he had? I mean, no veering off of his mission. He was there to kill Sarah Connor. And I think that's the terrifying thing about AI is that they're not going to let emotions get in the way of accomplishing their mission. That separates them from being human. And yet, here's AI terrorist number one, Harlan, captures J-Lo, spoiler alert, this is later in the movie. Trust me, I'm not spoiling anything. This isn't that suspenseful of a film. Captures Harlan. Harlan captures J-Lo's character, Atlas. And then what happens? He could kill her right then because he has a greater plan to go back to Earth. But instead he pulls a James Bond villain move where he's like, I'm just going to let you run out of oxygen.
No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
Right. Like, just kill her. I mean, it's over. Just kill her. And it's a robot. The robot would not have this idea.
And he monologues. He tells her everything.
Right. And it's like he has spite for her. And that's the exact opposite thing that a robot would. And what makes it so chilling usually is the fact that they don't care about anything and they're just going to accomplish their mission. And in this case, it's like, oh, I want to see you torture. I want to see you run out of oxygen. I'm going to leave you right here. Well, of course she's not going to run out of oxygen. You know?
Right.
Stupid. That would never happen.
I'm actually gonna push back on that. That would never happen. But first I'm gonna say that would never happen.
That would never happen.
That would never happen. But now I'm gonna push back a little bit because I think that our attitude and understanding of AI has changed since the 90s and T2, and even since the early aughts in the Matrix films. And now we have this image of AI because we've had all these interactions with our smart devices and calling them by people's names like Siri and Alexa. And I apologize for everybody whose devices just went off. That we see them more as even if they're not. Now we don't see them as these cold robotic psychopaths. They are imbued with human emotion like love, fear, hate. So that didn't bother me as much. I think and it's probably more realistic.
But would AI want to see the person die of running out of oxygen and not just step on her head or twist her neck?
So tactically, like strategically, that was a bad move. Just kill her.
Right.
But emotionally, I think that makes sense. I'm not saying he has to be that cold robot who doesn't have emotions. Like, he can have emotions. That's fine.
So a nitpick of mine that we skipped over, but looking at my notes, I did want to mention, was the suit that J-Lo gets in, which was, these things are always
so cool.
And we've seen them in numerous things from
Pacific Rim.
Avatar. There's various times you could go to these. However, in this one, I don't think they fully committed to the idea of J-Lo actually operating the suit. There were a couple of times in the fight scenes we get shots of J-Lo in the suit and moving her arms, like going to punch and do things. And then there's other times where her arms are down and they're walking and they're doing activities in the suit that J-Lo's clearly not controlling the suit. Either commit one or the other. I didn't like how it went back and forth.
Yeah, well, she does finally put on this device that helps her control the suit with her mind. So maybe that explains it. But okay, that's a nitpick.
So my jaw-dropping moment was the escape from the attacked ship. Did you have one?
I do. There is some eye horror in this movie with a needle slowly approaching a human eye that's being held open. That was pretty. I'm like, ooh. You don't see that a lot in a kind of a PG-13 Netflix movie.
Sure.
It was a moment of body horror. I liked it.
I wouldn't go that far.
I thought it was kind of cool.
I didn't have to look away from the screen. I was able to handle the whole thing. But for a movie poster quote, I went with, "Don't be a pawn in Netflix's game of chess. Best to skip this garbage."
I think you're being way too harsh on this movie.
And for those who haven't seen it, there's a chess piece that she always holds on to. It's as cheesy as you can imagine.
Very cool when she kills the first day. Anyway, I liked this movie.
It wasn't cool when she kills.
Oh, I liked it. Okay, here's my quote. And it's not a positive quote. It's kind of like middle of the road. "Hey, Siri, is this Atlas movie any good?" "Yes, I will now call you Atlas." Did I set off your Siri?
Yes.
Good. See? That's what I'm hoping I did for everybody. 2.5 Jaws for Matt K.
Oh, wow.
I say go ahead and give it a spin. It's kind of junky, but like with a pint of ice cream on the couch on a Thursday night, it's a good one.
I went 1.5 Jaws for Atlas. So I'm saying skip this one, Jawheads. And what's funny that you say that it's kind of fun. I saw the trailer, and before I caught it, like I walked into the room kind of thing, and it was playing, and it looked pretty cool. I thought, oh, babe, Netflix movie, what's this? And then J-Lo came on the screen. I'm like, oh, no.
See, here you go. You're being harsh on
no.
J-Lo. I loved Hustlers, and I guarantee you, J-Lo has a good movie under, like, somewhere inside of her that will be coming out sometime in the next decade.
So another one coming that's going to really wow us.
I think so. I think she has the J-Lo comeback movie. It's there.
Monster-in-Law 2.
Monster-in-Law 2.
Boo.
Yeah. This wasn't it, but I think that J-Lo's got that movie.
Jawheads, you may have seen Atlas since it's on Netflix, and if you have, let us know what you think. Do you agree, disagree with this review? Have any comment? Let us know. Shoot us an email, feedback@cinemajaw.com, or if you have Twitter pulled up, we are @CinemaJaw or @CinemaJaw anywhere, Facebook, yada, yada. We'll see if we get some comments on Atlas.
I hope we do. This is a nice, easy movie to watch.
It'll probably just be some bots.
Yeah, AI comments.
All right, brings us to AI movie trivia. Look how that ties right in, Matt. And I got a note here. I don't know if you recall.
Oh, yeah.
I
got a
wrote
lifeline.
this down that you have a lifeline this week that you can use Chat GPT.
Nice. Okay.
Now, the last question is the
pull
toughest.
Up Chat GPT.
So you might want to hold it for till the end. Just giving you a hint.
Thank you.
My own hint, not AI. Ready for it?
I'm ready.
All right.
And so is Chat GPT.
All right. Question number 1. Spielberg made AI in 2001. Wow. Who played the child robot David in the film?
Haley Joel Osment.
That is correct. On the board. On the board. Needs 3 or more not to be stumped. Question 2. Name the actress who played the robot Ava in Ex Machina.
Alicia Vikander.
Oh, I thought that was going to... We hadn't talked about her in a long time, and when I wrote this, I thought, yeah, it's really easy. But I thought, you know what? When was the last time we talked about Alicia Vikander?
When she did Tomb Raider.
Which is 3-4 years ago.
Oh, no. I think it's even longer ago than that.
There was two of them, though.
No,
not with Alicia Vikander, though.
No,
just
only
the
one with
really?
her.
I think
now
we were
that you
still
say that,
we were still in my office.
It was before COVID, I think.
Oh, long before
yeah,
COVID.
So now that you say it, you're right. But five years ago since we've reviewed a movie with her in it.
Man, Alicia come back. She's really good.
I agree. All right.
I mean, she's no J-Lo, but...
Matt might run the table here. Question 3. Who plays David, the AI robot in Prometheus?
Fassbender.
That is correct. He is not stumped this week. He might go run the table. Might run the table. I mean, you were really good on trivia last week, too. What's gotten into you?
I don't know.
Is this Matt or is it an AI Kubinski?
It's AI. It's AI-powered Kubinski.
We did Godzilla and AI, though, so it's Matt K. picks. You didn't do Jarvis from Marvel, so.
Question 4, Matt. What was the name of that Gal Gadot Netflix movie in which she tries to protect their AI asset? We reviewed it last year on The Jaw.
Heart of Stone.
Holy crap. It was a clunker. I thought for sure you would have forgot about that movie.
Actually kind of liked it.
Last question. You might get it and might not even need the help of your little chat friend.
I got Chat GPT.
The last question was this. It's a Terminator 2 question. What was the name of the character who worked for Skynet in Terminator 2 who Linda Hamilton goes off to kill, but then he ends up helping them blow up Skynet?
I don't remember. I remember the scene where he's like gasping for breath and he's like, I don't know how much longer I can hold this.
And he had his... And then the whole building blows up. But what is that character's name?
Okay. All right, I'm going to ask ChatGPT, what is the name of the character in T2 that created Skynet? Because he was the creator of Skynet. Oh, wow. All right. ChatGPT got this right on the nose. All right. According to ChatGPT, the character you're referring to is Miles Bennett Dyson. He is the Cyberdyne Systems engineer who inadvertently sets in motion the creation of Skynet, the AI system that leads to the apocalyptic future in the Terminator franchise.
That is correct.
You think Chat GPT wouldn't know that?
I remember Edward Furlong, if you can remember, when he figures it out because he doesn't know where his mom went. And he's like, she went to kill Miles Dyson. She's going to kill Miles Dyson. And then they got to run off and kill him. And then I love that scene when they're at his house. And Schwarzenegger
pulls the skin
off his hand and shows him the claw. And I always thought that actor, can we look up that actor's name who played Miles Dyson? That actor did such a great job of like looking at that horror of knowing that.
And his wife was there too.
And they bring the kid out of the room. It's a great scene. One of my favorite in T2.
Great scene.
Yeah. Do we have that actor's name?
Yeah, it would be Joe Morton. Mm-hmm. Joe Morton.
I see him pop up. He's one of those guys that when I see him pop up, I'm like, oh, it's the Terminator 2 guy.
Yeah.
Because I've seen him in other things. And I'm like, oh, I know him.
Has he done much else?
I've seen him in other things for sure.
Okay. All right. Great scene. Great actor. And his death scene was amazing.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations, Matt. You ran the table.
I ran the table with a little help from AI.
You wouldn't have got the last one.
I don't think so.
Good stuff.
Definitely wouldn't got it, but I won. Can I get a bell for that or something?
Let's give him a bell.
I can De Niro you blew it, but I was not prepared for this. We don't have a soundboard with anything congratulatory.
Yeah,
we're working on that. We missed our Costner soundbite too. We got to come up with something for next week.
Yeah,
he's got enough that we can pull something off the old computer.
For sure. We got to get Tatanka on there.
Yes, Tatanka.
It's a good one.
I love that one. Brings us to the end of a fun, very entertaining Jaw.
Indeed.
First and foremost, we got to thank our editor, our producer, KP.
Oh, of course, two things. Still plugging Pancakes and Booze, June 29th. Links in the description. I'll be there. It'll be good. And then the second thing, June is Kevin Costner month, and also a very important month. Happy Pride to everybody. And we hope you guys have a good Pride. CinemaJaw loves you and sees you.
Back at you.
Absolutely. Also want to thank the Patreons. Thank you for supporting the show. If you want to join us over there, it's patreon.com/CinemaJaw. Join the family of Patreons. It would mean so much to us.
Yeah, we should think of something to do just for the patrons this month.
I like it.
Yeah. All right. We'll think on that.
Yeah. Tie it in with Costner.
But in the meantime, there are so many fun things on Patreon already that you can go through. We're always dumping bonus content on there for you guys, and we think it's a lot of fun. And if you can't do that, and you want something free, pick up your phone, whatever you're listening to this on, and click subscribe or like or leave us a star rating. Just push some buttons, and it really, really helps us out. And it's free, so please do that.
Easiest way to support us. Until next week, I'm Rye the Movie Guy.
I'm Matt Kay, and keep on jawing about the movies.